Trump of the Trump Organization, Apprentice fame and all. Very good having you.
Thank you.
All right, so how would one Chris Christie handle this? I spoke exclusively with New Jersey's Republican governor just moments ago.
I understand as an executive and as a commander-in-chief of the National Guard here in New Jersey that, if you're the commander-in-chief, you have to be the person in charge. Now, there are also times when you're going to want robust debate and advice that differs from yours if you're a commander-in-chief from the people on the ground who are giving you that advice. And I insist on that myself, not only on domestic issues, but on issues regarding our National Guard.
Governor, there are people who say insubordination is insubordination. Challenging your boss is challenging your boss. The closest analogy I could make to you, sir, is when you kept on your education commissioner, Brett Sundler, when he had gone ahead and made some deals with union heads that you were not a fan of. And you immediately challenged him on that and said that he operated without your authority, but you didn't fire him. Is there a distinction?
Well, listen, I think that goes to the relationship. Brett and I had a number of really direct conversations about those decisions that he made.
What does direct mean?
It means I didn't mince any words. Okay. And in the end, I concluded that Brett understood that he had made a mistake and that mistake wasn't going to happen again. And so that's the decision I made when you also balance it against the value that I think Brett Sundler brings to our administration in terms of his ambition on school reform, which we need to have in New Jersey, and what an articulate spokesman he's been for that over the last almost 2 decades in New Jersey. You have to balance all those things out, the benefits of the person and the mistake that was made. And in my judgment with Brett, once I had his assurance that that was something that wasn't going to happen again, and there really was legitimately just an error in judgment on his part, I felt confident in keeping him on. But that's kind of my point with the president and General McChrystal. I also have a relationship with Brett where when I sat across from him, I believed he was telling me the truth. I think that's what the president probably is going to try to get at today with General McChrystal, and why the history of the relationship is probably really important. In my judgment, keeping Brett Sundler was the right thing to do. I'm happy to have him on board. No one's going to live life without making mistakes. I certainly make it. Everybody else. As long as you believe those are honest, genuine mistakes, I think people, should get a second chance.
You have just put the finishing touches, and there's broad agreement on the principles of a pretty substantial New Jersey budget, the smallest in 5 years, at around $29.4 billion. And you did it all without a single tax increase. And this in the face of developments in Washington, where just today, Governor, they're talking about that so-called $250,000 threshold for hiking taxes isn't gospel. Dianne Feinstein of California has said maybe 200,000, could go lower. That's not sacrosanct. That's the president's pledge, not Democratic leaders' pledge. What do you make of that?
Well, listen, I can only talk about what we've done in New Jersey, and I just think that we're at a point in our economic life here in our state, and candidly across the country, where increased taxes is just the wrong way to go. The people of our state are not convinced that state government, county government, local government has done all they can with the money we already give them, rather than the money that we had before. And so, we got together back.
I should explain to those. I'm wondering, we're here at a large forum, town hall meeting that the governor is going to be holding shortly, so there are a good few hundred people in this room, and so when they react, you're going to hear it, but I'm sorry.
Listen, so that's why I made the commitment back in March. I said we are going to balance an $11 billion budget deficit in a $29 billion budget. So by percentage, the largest budget deficit in America by percentage, larger than California, larger than New York, larger than Illinois. And we're going to balance that without raising taxes on the people of the state of New Jersey. They've had their taxes raised 115 times in the last 8 years, and yet we still have this deficit that we're dealing with. So to me, I just think raising taxes to close these holes is something that is counter to getting private sector economic growth so we can put people back to work in good paying private sector jobs. That's what we have to do in New Jersey. And, I think what we've done in cooperation with the legislature in being able to do this, Republicans and Democrats, is to show folks in New Jersey that we get it. And we have to do better with what they're already giving us. And in fact, in my view, over the next number of years, we should be taking less from them, not more.
this invariably leads to folks saying you side with the rich. When you vetoed a millionaire's tax, which actually would have affected those earning as little as $400,000, it was immediately met with hue and cry that you were on the side of fat cats. The New Jersey Education Association president said, the choice could not be more stark: tax cuts for millionaires or full school funding for New Jersey kids.
Well, let's be clear. The millionaire's tax, as they called it, was allowed to expire by Governor John Corzine and the Democrats in the legislature in December of last year, before I was even governor. And what I said was they wanted to pass that tax. That was their choice to extend that tax. They chose not to because they wanted to play politics. And they thought, wait, we can get a twofer here. You know, we can raise the taxes and get more money to spend to expand our programs, and we can force the governor to do something we know he doesn't want to do and said he won't do, which is raise taxes on anyone in New Jersey. And I said to them, you made your choice. You didn't want to take the revenue when you had a governor who would sign it. You're not going to get it now, because raising taxes on businesses in New Jersey, which that would have done, and individuals in New Jersey, is not what's going to make our private sector grow. We already have the worst tax burden of any citizens in America when you combine all of our taxes. So raising taxes on anybody, because believe me, today they're going to raise taxes on those people. Next year they'll come back and raise taxes on somebody else, and then it's going to get into your pocket. Someone has to stand the line and say, no, we can do this by cutting spending and reducing the size of government. That's what I was committed to doing. So these other things are just politics and false choices, and I think they thought they had a governor like John Corzine, who when they pushed I would fall over. They misevaluated this governor.
When the governor of a very important state comes to one of its smallest towns to send a message, those who love him make it very clear they love him. Those who don't make it very clear why they don't. What you're about to hear next from the governor of New Jersey is a reason why unions are no big fans of one Chris Christie.
You know, what would be fair would be for the teachers union to stand up and take the first step, and they haven't even done that. So I'm not making any promises. Let me finish my answer. Okay? I am not going to make any commitments to the teachers union to do anything until they do something that's other than in their own self-interest. And everything they've done so far is in their self-interest.